Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Brian Johnson Show, man. This is episode 7. First and foremost, man, listen, thank you to everybody who's been tuning in. I think I say that damn near every episode, but this episode I just want to say thank you. It's been moving. I see a good amount of people showing up and listening to the joint, man. I definitely appreciate that. It means a lot to me because when you're out here, you're trying to put something together and you're asking people to give their time to you and to what you're doing, and you don't know how that's going to be received, and people do it. It's just an amazing feeling. So just shout out to everybody who's doing that. This week's episode, my guest is just Duce, man. He's just, how can I put this? Duce is one of those people who I got to know in this interview. I had to go all the way out to Brooklyn to shoot it, and it was an amazing kind of thing to be in my man's element and talking to him and speaking to him about his life and what he's got going on. It was just an amazing thing. And when you get to know someone you watched for a long time and you admired some of the moves they've made, and then you get to sit there and you talk to them, it's one of the best feelings ever. So that's pretty much what's going to happen today. So check it out, listen to it. It's gonna be a dope interview. And if you got somebody that you wanted on the show or you think that would be dope on the show, hit me up at the Brian Johnson Show podcast at gmail.com. That's the email, and get at me. Send me a message. Let me know what you think. If you have any opinions, thoughts on the show and everything, I'm always willing to listen. I'm open to all that, and that's pretty much it. So definitely check out the show. If you have any questions or anything like that, definitely hit up the email again. That's the Brian Johnson Show podcast at gmail.com. Definitely hit me up in the email. And if you don't know, go to the IG. That's the Brian Johnson Show IG. It's my handle on Instagram. DM me if you have any thoughts or anything like that. All right. Otherwise, guys, take care, man. I hope you enjoy the show. Peace. Yo, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Brian Johnson Show, episode 7. Today, I'm with what you call the definition of a hustler. My man, Duce.
I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler, homie.
As you can hear. My man, Duce, I've been following this guy on social media for forever. And one thing I must say is he's always got a hustle going on, but he's always got legitimate hustles. It's not like he's trying to bullshit you by running some type of pyramid scheme or something like that. Nah, this man's got clothing going on. He's got artist movements going on. He's got promotion going on. The guy makes legitimate business happen for himself. And you got to respect the hustle. No matter what the situation is, the man is moving. So today, we got my man on the show. Introduce yourself to the people, bro. What's good?
Yo, what's going on, man? I go by the name of Duce the Privilege, as you said, a.k.a. Duce Privy.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get started, though, because perception is everything, so I just want to touch on a phrase that you just used, of pyramid scheme. And that's a key part of, that word's a trigger word because that's a key part of my success.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you why. I got started in a network marketing company that many people who kind of lack the full understanding of the concept of network marketing or multi-level marketing often use the term pyramid scheme to describe it in a derogatory way.
Oh, okay. I wasn't talking about that.
Because of lack of understanding, people refer to these type of People refer to these type of opportunities as pyramid schemes, whereas life is really a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, a family structure is usually the father, the mother, then the kids, pets. You know, it goes down the line. Your work, military,
right?
Our government, everything in life is set up as a pyramid scheme, where there's a glass ceiling. Whereas network marketing is kind of like an upside down pyramid, where everybody gets to grow, and you could always outgrow the person that brought you in.
I was talking about scam artists and
But this is what I'm saying. A lot of people think of those type of businesses that I was able to benefit from because I wasn't closed-minded. If I was a person that thought of those type of businesses to be a pyramid scheme, I know a lot of people who were closed-minded that missed out on a lot of great opportunities.
Oh, okay.
So when I hear that, I always feel the need to break that down.
I was talking about scamming and everything else, but okay.
we not scamming, man. Listen, man, we grind every day to get every dollar. Everything is legal over here, man.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, my fault. I know.
I told you to introduce yourself, so tell me what's going on. So
I'm Duce the Privileged, man,
all right,
from Brooklyn.
Okay, then from Brooklyn. So what exactly do you do right now?
I do a little bit of everything. I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
My company is Network ENT. Network stands for Kings Now, educating the world of real knowledge.
Okay.
That was started by my partner D-Rock and I, two of a kind. R.I.P. to D-Rock.
Right.
You know, we started the organization. Just a couple of kids that went to high school together, friends from his neighborhood, friends from my neighborhood, friends that we went to school with, and you know, that was our crew, Network. And you know, we started off with the music, events, and we had a lot of, you know, different ideas and goals and things like that. I got involved with the network marketing company that I was involved with. I learned a lot of things to apply in life and business from there. And I basically took some time away, and then I came back with what I learned, and I brought it to the team, and we used that, you know, in our everyday lives and our personal goals and our collective goals, and we started building from there.
So you started out in Brooklyn, am I correct?
Yes.
Right. Now, you're a kid in Brooklyn. Around what year was this kind of like starting to make happen?
Well, as far as network, well, two of a kind. All right, so let's go back to I was 17. At 17, I first got signed. I got signed at 17 to my to J30 Records by my cousin, my cousin Larry and whatnot. And that was around the time the towers came down.
Right.
And just, you know, that experience of prior to that, I have been on TV already. I've been on like your public access channels. I've been going to the schools battling people. I've been performing. I was doing it, but it was just like 17 is like when it really all became real to me. It was just like, wow, like my cousin signing me, like even to an independent label at the time, just showing me things like I was 17. I was going to the studio out in B-More, like, you know, getting beats. Like, we going on a road to hit the studio. You know, I had a lot of experience. I experienced a lot of things in my teenage years with this music that just made me see that how real it could be, and I could actually do this.
It was like I guess it was like a really mind-blowing kind of experience at that point.
Somewhat of a mind-blowing experience. It's just more so, it became more realistic.
Right.
Like, yo, now it's just like, now I'm not just doing this in the lunchroom, and I'm not just going up to schools. Like, I got signed, like, that. The pressure of me being the artist, the main artist on the label.
That's
like it was me and my man D-Rock. Like I had friends in the hood, and then I had my man D-Rock who lives a mile away from me. Like he lives on one side of Prospect Park, I lived on the other.
I got you.
And it was just like my boys on my side, they weren't really the type to go to shows and things like that. And then like his boys on his side, they wasn't really like the type to go to shows and shit like that. And we went to school together. So it was like, yo, I got a performance over here. What's up? All right, fuck it. Yo, we out. It just be me and D-Rock. That's why we was two of a kind. Like his birthday was February 24th. Mine is February 22nd. He was 2 years older than me.
February 25th.
We both was Pisces, not Pisces, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? And that's just what it was. And, you know, we had, you know, like I said, he had his crew, I had my crew, and then we had the people who we knew mutually together. And
you guys linked up like Voltron at that point.
Yeah, we were doing a two of a kind thing because it was just he and I, and then it was after a while, you know, we formed a network, and yeah,
that's good. So okay, so let me get this straight. So at this point, you got your network going, you got your crew going at this moment. You're about 17, 19. I told you 17 and 19. This thing's really
we formed network officially. I would say like about 19.
About 19.
About 19 because 2001 I was 17,
Yeah.
just got signed, and then that's when, you know, after that, so basically I got signed, it was just me though. But at the end of the day, it was like, yo, if I'm recording, my man's recording. Like, this is it. Like, this is my road dog. How this gonna be the only nigga that's riding out with me? And then it's like, yo, I got a deal, bro. like, nah. All right, so fuck it. If I got the deal, he a part of my deal. Like, that's it. Whatever. We recording together. Like, that's just what it is. And that's what it was. And then like over the course of 2 years of us doing a lot of grinding, I can remember times like, you know, I was writing for a particular artist and we going out, you know, that artist got to connect to the A&R at the label and they want us at a show in Philly. We writing a song on the way there. Like, that was an experience because we fucked up. I ain't gonna pretend like we didn't. But
I think anybody in that kind of situation is gonna kind of fuck up, man. That's you getting thrust into a situation you have no experience.
But it was just like we was just ready to go, like by any means.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, we got the call, like, yo, you ever heard of TVT? It was like TVT, like those kind of labels back then. Like this is probably like I want to say maybe like 2000. 5, 6-ish around that time, maybe.
Things were hot, man.
And
things were hot back then. New York, in this area, because of what Dipset had done, things were bubbling a lot in this area at that point.
So we got a chance to go out to Philly to perform for some labels and all of that.
Right.
So like it's me, D-Rock. I'm not gonna name the artist at the time, but and like an A&R.
Right.
The A&R was the driver. So it was just like we writing a song on the way, like real deal.
That's that.
So
right there.
I'm writing my verse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? D-Rock and I are writing the hook together, and then I'm writing this other artist's verse.
Right.
So it's like we all gotta remember this whole song, but we confident, like fuck it, like we going to do this.
I got the picture in my head right now.
We shooting our shot, and you know that's like a 3-4 hour drive, depending on how you drive.
Yeah.
Yo, we get there, we get on stage. I remember I had on my iceberg Scooby-Doo set. I had the blue hoodie with the Scooby-Doo with his brown skin was the leather. It was leather. You know what I'm saying? It was
Leather?
iceberg. Yeah.
Oh.
The skin was leather. Scooby was leather.
Right.
And then they had it on the pockets too with the cuff and all of that. I was fresh. I was ready from Philly. Nah, for real. So, boom. We on stage. Hook, come on. Hook. It's time for the hook. We all got the hook. We rocking. Time for the verse. I got my verse. We rocking. My man D got his verse. We rocking.
Third artist, not so much. Oh.
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was just bad. And but it was kind of dope because then we saw this other dude from Philly. I don't remember his name, but he. Yo. All right. So before I continue this story, my phone. Listen to this real quick. Out of nowhere, you see me. I didn't touch my phone.
Right.
This is the theme song, the season 1, episode 1 of my web series Best Frenemies. Just came on in the middle of this conversation. I don't know why that just happened. That's
ghost.
crazy. That was crazy.
That's a little.
Wow.
I had never seen no shit like that
Wow.
before.
Wow. We got to talk about that.
You shouldn't have a timer like that.
That was crazy. And look, that was Safari.
Yeah, that's freaky.
That wasn't even the YouTube app. That was crazy.
That's a real freaky.
Wow.
That's a little
But
weird.
anyway, so this dude, he performed, his vocals were playing though.
Okay.
And it was just like, he was like just acting it out. But it was like, because his vocals were playing, everybody in the spot heard it. So like people be condemning artists who rap over their vocals, but he was experienced and seasoned enough to know what level he needed the mic so he didn't have to just lip sync, but he could still spit, but he's not over the track and people could just watch him and hear the track. And I was just like, oh. And then from there I've learned, my experience has helped me learn how to use my vocals if needed, how to be able to perform without the vocals, acapella over a beat or anything like that. So like now experience has helped me learn how to perform in any setting under any type of circumstance.
So from that point on, you learned a valuable lesson about preparation for a gig.
That's a fact.
And you had learned that, and then
preparation prevents poor performance.
Exactly. So you're moving in your young age. That's a very valuable lesson that you learned. How did that lesson of preparation guide you for the next
It didn't really guide me much.
So it did. So you didn't learn your lesson from that.
Nah, because at the end of the day, I was just so I believed in myself so much. It was just like I knew that was a possible outcome, but it was like fuck it, we're taking a chance.
So you're a chance taker at the end of the day. I understand that.
I mean, listen, I'm shooting my shot. I'm either make it or I'm not, but I'll never make the shot I don't take.
Exactly, you miss 100%.
But check this out. Had we not done that,
I
wouldn't have learned that one tip.
I see what
like,
you're
yo, there's a time and a way where you can perform with your lyrics and kill that shit. Because everybody loved his performance.
Right.
Like, hands down, he had the best performance. Like, he won the whole shit. Like, so I took notes. And from that, it helped me with future performances. So that's what I got from that.
Good.
I was being funny with it, but that's what I got from that.
I think there's a lesson, and I think you would agree with this. There's a lesson in everything that we do in life.
That's a fact.
And if it's up to you, the people who achieve anything in life are people who take the lesson, they learn from their mistakes, and learn how to achieve
when you learn
those.
from the lesson, you never lose.
Right. Now, being that you're from Brooklyn, there's been a host of artists that have come out of Brooklyn. And you see you and your crew, you guys are moving forward and you're doing your thing. What kind of artists did you kind of run into that you were just like, yo, I used to be around this dude. Now he's moving over here. Like, oh, snap. Because one thing about you, I can always say, I go on your gram and you are always in the mix. And in the mix in a good way.
Yo, the funny thing is I'll be here, though. A lot of people say that.
Like, they catch you in the mix.
You know what it is? I only go out when I feel it's necessary.
Let me tell you a story. So I'm out on Dykeman years ago. Shout out to Dean, my man Art. Great dude.
Dean Art.
Yeah. This guy was my man. And I was like, who's this guy Duce? He keeps popping up on my fucking gram, bro. He's like, yo, that dude is one of the smartest dudes you'll ever have a conversation with. He's what you call a hustler. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, all right. So I follow back. You follow back. But it was amazing that that somebody was that random was telling me about you in the streets. You know what I mean? It's not like somebody was shitting on your name. You know what I mean? He told me that on the flip. And he was like, yeah, yo, he's dope. Yo, he knows a lot of shit. He does a lot of shit. Like, he's not a bullshitter. And that right there co-signed you for me. Because most people, they don't do that for people. They be like, oh, he cool. You don't get no pickups unless you know what I mean, you done some shit.
What happened was, so from the point when I got, boom, 17 to 19, I'm dealing with the whole.
Yeah.
All right, so from 17 we get signed. I get signed and by the time I'm 19, that situation goes nowhere.
Right.
Basically, it dissolved. Whatever happened. Shout out to my cousin because him believing in me gave me the push that I needed. Mm-hmm. So it got to the point to where I started recording in the studio at 14. From 14 to up until I turned 19 and booked my own first session.
Right.
I never pretty much had my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're coming into adulthood at 20, 21.
I would go to the studio with the older dudes and they'd be like, that's fire, but I would never get the song. Yeah, we're going to give it to you. I would never get it.
Right.
So then I just got to the point, it's like, you know what? I'm going to book my own studio time. Mm-hmm. And from that point to this point where we are today, I just started doing everything for myself.
Right.
So I would pay somebody for something I didn't know how to do. I would pay, and I would just watch it be done. And then I would learn and do it myself.
That's the Russell Simmons thing right there.
Over a course of time, me doing a whole lot of things and just being who I am with networking and meeting people, there are people who saw the things that I was doing that wanted it done for themselves. And that's kind of where the business really started picking up, the business of a network.
Okay, so, all right. So at this point, I would say like 21 to 25, you're learning how to move.
21 to 20, all right, so...
Because the reason why I'm building such a
2004. I start college 2004.
Right. I'm building this timeline because there's so much going on. I want to give people a good timeline.
2004, I start college at the age of 20.
Okay.
2004, age of 20, I decided to go to college. Electrical engineering, installation, all of that good stuff. I've done electrical I've been around computers since I was a kid. I went to high school for electrical installation. I did an internship. I worked with a company. All of that. I've done wild shit with electricity. And I got to a point to where it was just boring. It wasn't nothing like when I was back in high school. Or it was just like mad textbook shit. Right. I'm like, yo, I want to I'm a hands-on kind of person.
Yeah,
like,
you want to get in the field.
I cannot sit in a classroom for hours. It doesn't work for me. Like, I'm too fucking creative for that.
You got the ADD.
My mind's always
ADD
going.
was diagnosed.
So it's just like, listen, I'm a creative artist. I don't want to sit here and fucking listen to you fucking...
That's one thing about you, yo, bro. Real shit, like the creative, that's something that is like, that's you, man. The creativeness, I can see that, man.
I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So now, basically, I'm at a point where it's just like, yo, I'm in school, I'm paying to learn from people who haven't done it, and it's just kind of like, I've always been an entrepreneur, I've always been a hustler, and it's just like, you go to school, you're being paid, you're paying to be taught by somebody who's been in school their whole life.
What's that Kanye West first album was about that?
College Dropout.
He was like, you guys are career students.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's just like the 40-40 plan, you know, go to work, 40 years, 40 hours, retire 40%, I'm good. Nah. So I got introduced to the business opportunity, and I went that route.
Got you.
And from like 2000, I signed up in December 2004. So from then till about 2006, I ran with it heavy.
Right.
But it was that 5 years was like an amazing growth period for me. From the relationships that I established that still exists to now, traveling all across the country. It's like I dropped out of college like 6 months. I went to college for 6 months, dropped out, got involved with the business. And I was in a situation where instead of me paying to learn from somebody that hasn't done it, I was making money while learning from people who made money. I was in a network marketing business,
Right.
But bigger than the product that we offered. It was the culture that was built around it.
Right.
It was something that you just wanted to be around. It was something positive, something that we offered certain products and services, or certain services rather, but it wasn't. It was less about that and more about seeing individuals who were young. Like we at the age of 21, I remember the youngest in our organization. We had a 6-figure ring earner who was 23, 24 at the time, and got a range out the business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And for us at the time, that was a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Because the only people pushing ranges at that age, well, I need to
So
tell you
what we
that
were
is.
doing though, but it was just like, yo, this is something we're doing on a positive note.
Right.
And it was one of those things where, we were doing sales. It was rough, but it taught me a lot, and it helped me to structure a lot of things that I was already doing prior to that with network.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of had to like leave niggas alone for a minute.
Now, when you say leave niggas alone, you had your boys. How did that come over? Just cross over to them? Were they just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
I mean, nobody ever questions what I do, even if they don't agree with it. It's
Right.
just like anybody that knows me, I'm gonna do what I want.
Right.
So for me, it was more so just it was less of them questioning me and me more of like I wish I could force these motherfuckers to just listen.
I get what you're
Like
saying.
my nigga, like
I get what you're saying.
this is what it is. It's gonna work this way. Just do this, and it's just like they were what we call blues at the time. Like you have reds, greens, and blues.
Okay.
Like your reds are like the most ripe. Like reds are people who you want to be like.
I see what you're saying.
Greens are people who are like they're not where they want to be, but they're on the right track, and they're looking towards reds to become a red.
I got you.
And blues are like they have a problem for every solution. Like you just want to stay away from them. Like they're super negative. Like anything you bring to them is like they'll tell you why it won't work.
Word.
Those are people you stay away from.
Word.
A lot of my friends were blues.
Yeah.
It was just what it was.
I think a lot of us growing up, when we're trying to strike out on our own, will face more blues and reds than anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a lot.
And it just took a while for them to like, all right, my nigga, like, I'm out. Like, eventually, it got to a point where it's like, yo, if you're not on what I'm on, you're not at least, all right, you don't want to join this business, cool, but you got to read these books that I'm reading, because if we're not here mentally, then you and I are not going to see eye to eye on anything.
Did you feel the hate?
It wasn't even hate. It was just I don't feel hate at all. I just feel like they weren't ready to grow in the way I was growing, and I understood that. It was like, my nigga, listen. When you're ready to eat, your seat is reserved. Like you gotta come to the table. You know,
gotta think about it. When you're 20, 21, 22 years old, your mindset is not thinking like that. Your mindset.
And I'm running around. We suited up. Like we different. Like
Yeah.
I'm suited up every day. Like it's a whole different.
Right.
Most niggas run around with they Dipset Skull Gang jeans. And
They ready to rock,
nah,
man, yeah.
at this time, we
Yeah.
talking 2004, 5, 6.
Yeah.
So it was
Jimmy had the streets on fire.
But
back
at the
then.
same time,
Yeah.
and I was still rapping though. I was still rapping, and if you listen to the content back then, you can really hear it. Like I've always had the same type of music, where it's like my music is like entrepreneur's mindset or hustler's mindset. Like we just grinding. Like, and if you listen to the music from then to now, you'll see the growth.
Right, I get you. Back then, who was like who on a major scale was influencing your thought process?
It was really the books I was reading that was influencing my thought process. A lot, like The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Miles Monroe, Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, Think and Grow Rich: A Black Choice by Napoleon Hill with Dennis Kimbrough, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Emotional Prison. I don't remember the author's name. It's so many different books that.
Brother
that
Duce, man,
just
some
just
good
helped
books,
guide
man.
me.
I'm not the greatest book reader. Like I'll tell you.
I
right.
wasn't either.
I
And it took a long time.
Yeah,
Like me being in the business I was in, it took a long time for my workout partner, somebody who you share goals with like that keeps you on track. It took a long time of him telling me like, and he was somebody who was on a successful level, what we consider successful in the business, who kept telling me, yo, read this book, it's gonna help you make this adjustment so you can be a better person and you can get these type of results. The Secret, the DVD that I watched, before it became a popular thing through Oprah, the original version, all of that. And it's just like, once I started reading certain books, and I started seeing things change for me in certain ways, it made me want to read more.
Yeah.
Because now it was just like,
Yeah.
because the first thing I read was like True to the Game. I read a couple of hood books, but I wasn't really into reading. Reading wasn't my thing like
True to
that.
the Game was a big book for me. I started reading Russell Simmons.
Do you?
Do You? That book right there.
I have it in my library somewhere. I didn't read it yet.
That book right there, and I read later on. I read Dr. Wayne Dyer's book, Wishes Fulfilled, which is like a whole nother myth. It's really, really like it blows your mind on the way you treat people.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of a lot of things come into play with how you treat people, and I'm sure all the books you read tell you that you get way more forgiving people. Like I guess you could say
You attract more flies with honey than vinegar.
Exactly what I'm saying. And hearing you speak about these books and everything is one thing. I remember this guy I watched on YouTube, and he was explaining. It's like you don't need a degree; you just need to be well read. Because if you know the books, you know what you're talking about.
You got to be educated.
Yes, you got to educate yourself. You can't just educate. You can't just think that a degree is going to get you somewhere. If you educate yourself past that point, reading books, going to seminars, talking with people, networking with people, you can grow yourself to another level. So you leaving school and then continuously educating yourself by reading, I think is definitely contributed a whole lot to the success that you found yourself at this stage in your life.
As an artist, it was extremely necessary for me because when it comes to my music artistry, just being a writer and a recording artist, is if I'm not really reading and having new experiences, I don't really have anything to talk about.
True.
So it stunts my creativity. Like my experiences are where a lot of my creativity is just really from my experience.
Yeah.
So it's really recalling in a sense with a lot of things, things that I've probably experienced firsthand or secondhand, seeing it around me.
What kind of things during that time were your creative outlets? Because you have your business and then you have your creative outlet.
Well, the thing is, with me being in that business environment, 2006 I performed in the MGM Grand with my man Mike Barber, who runs a show called Mike Check Wednesday right now with DJ Spenfo.
Fire.
And Mike Barber was, excuse me. After that, he was he worked for Diddy. He was on the show. I Want to Work for Diddy. But 2006, this company that we were in, we had a convention in the MGM Grand, and the company had a talent show.
Nice.
And I helped Mike write a song, and we performed it.
That must have been a hell of a...
In the MGM Grand, 20,000 people. Like, so...
Not many people can actually say they even did that much.
And when you're in an organization, like I said, it was all about the culture we built around us. So it was a little different, because like now I'm making music for this particular culture. So now when I'm making music and I'm talking about, and I'm dropping certain jewels from certain books, it's not just going over the heads, because these people are of like minds. So now they can listen to some hip hop that directly relates to where their mind is right now.
I see what you're saying.
So when I'm talking about quotes from How to Win Friends and Influence People, when I'm talking about quotes from Awakening the Giant Within, Ultimate Power, from Anthony Robbins, when I'm reciting quotes from Jim Rohn, you know what I'm saying?
Sick. Jim Rohn, man. Wow.
Yeah, so like
it there.
when I'm saying, and it's crazy, like if you go back right now and if you listen to, I'm gonna get this to you. It might be online. I got to double check. I might have pulled it by now.
Okay.
But Poetry in Motion Volume 1 was music that was written from like 2002 to 2004.
Right.
And dropped early 2005. Volume 2 and Young National are songs that were done during that time. And it's just like, I want you to hear that music, because then you'll get a better understanding,
right,
and better answers for the questions you're asking. To really see, like, you'll hear where it's like, okay, you can kind of tell when I started making that shift more towards when I started reading more,
right,
and I started understanding things differently.
It's an amazing thing. People always say, "Oh, the old saying. They say you want to keep something from a nigga, put it in a book." But I hate that term with a passion, because I think that's just the most belittling term you can ever use.
But it's accurate in a huge sense. And the reason why it's accurate,
it's tough to hear you say that, man.
You know why? And Jada said it. But truth hurts. The truth hurts.
I know.
And I'm gonna keep it real with you.
I know.
Like, it's true.
I know.
And the reason why it's true is because there are a lot of things that I know now, and I do things a certain way now because of the things that I've read in a book. Prior to me being willing to open that book just for educational purposes, I didn't know it. So it's a harsh reality, but this is it. And it's not just it hurts because it says that you want to hide from a nigga, but that's really it's anybody.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like growing up, we weren't doing book clubs and shit like that.
Man.
Not me and my friends.
Nah, it's the first book club was the last thing on my mind.
But in my 20s, book clubs, like in my 20s and my 30s, like I'm on my book club shit.
Yeah.
Like right now, I don't have my whole library here in my other spot. But like when I go to Barnes and Nobles, I might go for one book that somebody recommended.
Right.
But I spend at least $100 every time I go to Barnes and Nobles.
That's
minimum.
Dope. That's dope.
Even if I don't read all the books right away, it catches my eye. I heard of it. I'm grabbing it.
I got I do that too.
You know,
my girlfriend says all the time, like, you spend all these money on these books, but you never read them. I'm like, babe, I'm gonna get to them. Just give me a second.
Another thing that helps too is audiobooks. You know, if you're always on the road, you know, there's apps now, Audible. There's apps where you can listen to the book. So it's true, man. It might hurt, but listen, the truth hurts. It is what it is.
I know.
Because all the information is there. There's so much, like, I'm not even going to go there right now. I'm not going to talk about the hypocrisy of religion, but anyway.
Let's stick to the case here.
But, you know, it's important to read because when you read, you start to discover things because a lot of times we just go by what people tell us.
Exactly.
But if we take the time to read ourselves, we would be like, oh, no, this is bullshit.
Listen. You're talking to a guy who subscribes heavily to the YouTube University. I do a lot of research on everything. I look at everything. So reading and going to Barnes and Nobles and spending the cash to get the books, I super agree with you. And although I do hate that phrase, I understand where it came from. I understand where it came from. So now you're moving in to roughly around the time when I started following you and we started that time frame, which was I can honestly say New York was a heavily creative place at that point, especially uptown.
All right, so what time?
We're talking like 2000. We're talking 2005, 2006. We're talking right. We're moving into 2007 to around 2010.
All right, so we're looking like 2007. All right, so 2000. We probably connected like more towards like 9. Twitter area.
Yeah.
So 2007. I'm a promoter. So it's just like, you know, throughout that time of me doing what I was doing with the organization, I'm making music for people in the organization to understand. Now I'm 2006. I'm getting back into now. It's just like for 2 years I've been in the trenches and I'm kind of like starting to pull my peoples and I'm starting to get their minds to open. 2007 comes, we incorporate network.
I got you.
We now it's just like I'm learning all of this shit. I'm learning so much. It's like I have to start applying it, and it's like, yo, listen, let's get down and lay down.
She got the fever going.
Yeah, it's get down and lay down. Like, listen, my nigga, like I don't got time to. You either on my time or you not, bro. You my nigga, but if you
tell me not, that feeling when you're right then and there is an incredible feeling when you got that feeling. You got that itch going. I can't explain it personally in so many words, but it's just something you know when you got it. It's like, yo, B, we got it, fam. Fuck what we doing over here?
That's why today I was like, nah, 12 is what it is. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like when you gotta move.
Yeah,
it's about action. Why put off today? Why put off for tomorrow what you could do today?
Right.
You know, so it's just like, yo, listen, if y'all not, like I said earlier, you're not reading, you're not. So now everybody getting on the same page. We incorporate the company. You know, we get our articles of incorporation. We got all these different positions. We assign people their positions. We're learning every Sunday. We got a meeting. We listen to the audios. Niggas got homework assignments to read certain books and like real deal shit.
Yeah,
you know, and we built a lot of entrepreneurs through that process. So now, 2007, that year. You know, I get into the party promoting thing. You know,
how's that transition into the party? Because that's a dirty game, bro.
It was weird how it happened. Yo, this dude reached out to me on MySpace, and
we took it to MySpace, baby.
Yeah, it was just weird because I don't know this dude, and we from Brooklyn. Nigga reached out, that's suspect. Like, you trying to line me up or what? Like, what's going on here? Like, and it's wild. I'm not going to get into names and nothing like that because I'm going to tell a certain part of the story that I don't want to incriminate nobody.
Correct. No problem.
But I'm just like, I'm looking up, like, who is this? I start
looking
through
research.
mutuals.
You got to do the research.
And I see one mutual person.
Yeah.
So I see what this nigga talking about. The nigga's like, yo, you want to make some money? Promoting, da-da-da-da. And son just told me, yo, I don't know this nigga. I have no reason to trust him.
Right.
But take a chance.
Follow that instinct, boy.
And I took a chance. And he linked me with somebody who happened to end up down the line being a relative of mine. Like, I found out down the line. But he introduced me to somebody who was working with, who was a big promoter.
Right.
Who happened to actually be my relative down the line.
So
But it was just like, he put me on, and she took me under the wing. And it was like, now I'm a promoter. I'm in all the popping clubs.
Yeah, time to move. And that's prime time.
So
that's that year. Those years are prime time. Clubs
2007, that was 11 years ago. So I'm like 22 at the time, something like that. Yeah. So I'm like 22, 23. I'm living a promoter's life, B. Bottles. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And then I have my first child.
Oh.
Woo. And it was just like a lot was going on. First child, then I got it. That's when I got my real job, cable job. A lot going on. And now it's just like, I'm back to the music, put out a project. Like, it's a lot going on at this point.
That's you got to grow up fast, bro.
Everything is moving at this point. Like, there's a lot going on. A lot going on. Like, parties, music. And then it's just like, the music, when I listen to that Poetry in Motion Volume 2, that's that 2006, 2007 era. Where it's like, it's a play-by-play of exactly what I was doing at that time. And my music after that kind of became like a forecast. You know what I'm saying? So like everything else that I started rapping about, I was doing. Because I learned about speaking things into existence.
Right.
So it's just like I was rapping about the life that I wanted to live.
But you were hungry, bro.
Yeah.
You were hungry. That's something I always catch on to you, that you're a very hungry dude. Like, I'm ambitious. That song Wale put out about ambition definitely rings true for you, my G.
Appreciate that. So 2007, like I said, we incorporated network. I'm throwing events. So much shit going on. I have a kid. I get my first real job with benefits doing cable. Then 2008 rolls around. I build a studio. Right there. If you ever hear me say two doors and a microphone, and this opening right here, I put a door here, a door on one side, padded that little area, put the mic, hung the light, and then over there on that area was where I had like the board and everything.
What?
This was a wall right here. This was a wall to separate the rest of the crib. So, and that whole area was the studio.
Oh.
And at that time, like,
that's some hustle and flow shit.
I nurtured a lot of artists that came through here. Their first studio sessions, their first shows, their first radio interviews. So I'm gonna just fast forward. So now I got the studio in the crib.
Right.
I'm moving around. I'm networking. I'm doing shows. I'm getting out there. I threw one successful show where it was like comedy, singing, and rap.
I've always wanted to do that. That sounds like an amazing.
That was my very first show that I threw in the spot in the city, with no help of my friends, and nobody on the team. One person from the team showed up, and at that point, it was just like I felt like people on my team weren't taking things as serious as I was taking them. For me, it was just like network was my everything, and everybody else had something else to fall back on.
Right.
At that point, I was moving away from the business that I was doing, and I was focused on network now because I felt like I went there, I got what I needed, and now I'm bringing it back.
Right.
And it got to the point where I got a kid now. You know, I'm working the cable thing, but this is my focal point.
Right.
It's this network shit. And it just felt like the three of us weren't always it was hard for all of us to be on the same page at the same time. You know,
everybody has their own idea and own aspirations.
It was just like when two of us would be ready to like focus on straight network shit, one of us is off, like not really fully focused on this. One of us is dealing with life, personal life. You know,
right.
And it was just hard to get all three of us on the same page at the same time. And then
I went through something similar with my boys. We were going to start because we were into the car racing scene big time. And we were going to start a shop. We were really thinking about going to start a shop, but everybody had their own thing. Like one of my boys got his first 6-figure job, and then another one of my boys was like, I got to go to school, and then he has a kid. So it kind of threw everything into a wrench. And then another one of my boys was like, yo, my mom's got cancer. Things are not going the way I need to go. I got to go out and do what I have to do for me to take care of my kids, take care of my brothers.
Speaking of which, 2008, 2009, my partner D-Rock's diagnosed with cancer. Now that slows things around. You know, he slows things down. He's going through what he's going through.
Yeah. That must have been heavy on you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your man, and
Yeah.
he's going through that, and his life is changing, but that's got to affect you like mentally and physically a lot.
Yeah, watching him go through that was definitely rough. But at the same time, we were in a time period where we were going through personal development. You know, so like one thing he always, before he passed, he always told people was that what got him through was like the personal development, reading the books and everything that he gained from reading certain books and things like that. So he actually beat the cancer and he got killed. He got shot. Wrong place, wrong time. You know, God bless him.
God bless that
Sleep
man.
in peace. But, you know, before that happened, it got to the point where it was just like, all right, you know what? It was 2009, December 8th, my son was born. Second kid, 2009. And come Christmas, both my kids were sick, but my son had, I can't remember the exact name. It's like kids pneumonia. I forget the exact name of it. But that's what it was. He was in ICU for like 2 weeks. I was out of work. I was out of vacay time, this, that, and the next. So long story short, I'm out of no holiday time, no vacay time. I'm out of work for 2 weeks. And at this time, 2009, around this time, going into 2010, the only thing I was doing was working a cable job. That was like one of the very few times in my life where I only had one stream of income. And that's when I realized like I was in a fucked up situation.
At that point, like, I'm guessing at that point you had a moment of clarity at that point, like, yo, I gotta make some changes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just like a rude awakening because it was like now I have to get to it. So like right around that time, right like that December before going into 2010, you know, I started this wave called Generation X because that's just our generation, like Generation X, and you know. That New Year's Eve, 2009, I had left the hospital and I went to do a radio interview. And the people I went to go chill on their radio show. They were doing blog talk, so it was like through the phone, and people were like calling in and listening through the phone. And I was like, "Yo, this shit's pretty dope." So
wheels start turning in, boy.
So now it's just like, all right. Yo, you're too smart and resourceful to be fucked up right now. Because I'm out of work, no income.
Right.
2 kids, son sick. Bruh. Up Shit's Creek, no paddle.
So wait. I have a question. Now, both your sons have the same mother?
My son and my daughter. My daughter's the oldest.
Daughter's the oldest,
yeah,
okay.
Same mother.
Okay. So wait. Oh, man. So I know that had to be rough, B.
Bruh.
Yo, the looks, the words that must have been coming out. My God, my G.
It was crazy. So then, January 6th, I launched GX Radio. January 6th, 2010.
All right.
Start with one show, Motivational Mondays.
Got it.
The conversation changes because now I'm not having conversations as Duce the Privileged artist.
Right.
Duce the Privileged radio host. You know what I'm saying? So now,
if you guys could see the look on this man's face when he says it, he's just like, Duce the Privilege, the radio host, guys. Yeah.
Nah,
okay.
But it put me in a position of leverage because as an artist, people just have this stigma. It's like, oh my God, is another one of those. What do you want from me? They always think you want something. But now, me being a radio host, being a person of media, I have something you want.
Exactly.
And that's where it started. So 6 months in, I created a company called GX Media and launched a website, which basically was like MySpace, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everything merged in one. It was a platform for all different types of artistry, from photographers to DJs, singers, rappers, pretty much everything. Like, the site was the shit. Like, don't let me tell it. But, you know, started with the site, GX Media, and to me, GX Media was everything that network was initially set out to be.
All right.
I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do it on my own. And I told my niggas, like, yo, when y'all niggas ready to all be on the same page together, y'all got a seat at the table. But I got to go do this. The 3 of us got this together, and we not getting this right.
Gotta
I don't
move.
got nothing. Right now, I'm up Shit's Creek without a paddle. I got to do something.
That's what.
So
And that,
GX
a lot of
Radio
people have to do that, man. That's
led
what you have
to GX
to do.
Media.
Yeah.
And then me and my guys, we never stopped building and talking. Like, even when I was creating what I was creating, sitting with my niggas, it was just that niggas just wasn't focused on what I was focused on.
I think.
So D-Rock and Al were around the whole time.
Right.
So then it got to a point where D-Rock was on his camera grind. He was filming shit. Camera, going to parties, doing that. That was his hustle. That was one of his hustles at the time.
Right.
So then it was like, all right, yo, listen, D. Boom. You know, I launched the site. I'm gonna do a launch show. The ill shit was that I had like a lot of like C-list celebrities on my blog talk calling. So it was like in 6 months my shit was building. Like, so I did a show and D-Rock filmed the very first one.
Right.
I believe. The very first one he filmed, and then he got killed. He filmed the first show. And
just when you had your motion going, that was the mojo was going.
It was like everything was coming back together.
Yeah, man.
And that just kind of like the whole situation behind that created a lot of division amongst the whole network and the subsidiary teams and groups within the network. And they changed a lot of relationships with a lot of people.
I think that would change a lot. I mean, the fact that you just lost somebody that was meant a lot to you, number one, but meant a lot to a lot of people as well.
Yeah, and it was just a lot of extra stuff surrounded around it, and it was just like, I can't fuck with you because you fuck with them, and
it divides the team at that point.
And a lot of that started happening, but you know, the core still remained. The core still remained. And, you know, I just continued building GX Media, started off doing shows here and there, every couple months, and then before you know it, I was doing shows weekly, a couple of shows a week. Fast forward.
Did that help you go through, was it therapeutic for you while you were going through that morning stage?
I didn't really mourn much because, like, I just felt like it was more so about keeping it. My mind state, I deal with things differently from a lot of people. Like, my mom's just passed January 1st. And I still, like, I'm on hearing.
Bro. I didn't know that, man.
Thank you. I'm on hearing it in different ways. Like, me, with D-Rock, it was just more so for me, I just felt more burdened to keep this shit going.
In his name.
Yeah. And so it was just like, the universe works in mysterious ways. So I'm going to get to how I went, instead of mourning, I just decided to build instead of mourn.
I got you.
Build in his name. You know what I'm saying? So, like, boom. GX Media is building. And fast forward from 2010 to 2012, like, I've done, like, I put together different types of shows. I was like, I did an all-female show, certain Hot 97 DJ, like the works, bro. Like calling in like everybody I know in the industry, like really making shit happen. And then 2012 came.
Yeah, the world was supposed to end.
2011, I got laid off.
Okay.
So now, boom.
I know the feeling. I was unemployed too,
So
bro.
look, so 2010, I spent like $3,000 building this ultimate website. Shit's moving now. You know, I got the site, so I constantly have a flow of artists, DJs, XYZ. So now I'm providing different services, all these different media services.
And you're building relationships
connecting
on that.
the supply.
Right.
The man building a fucking crazy, some shit that was never heard of that nigga said couldn't be done.
Right.
And it's super dope. And doing that while all the social media stuff is growing. So, boom. Fast forward, 2012, I do a birthday party.
Okay.
And I do it at this spot called 1 in 1 on First Avenue and First Street in Manhattan, Lower East Side. I booked Torch from Triple C's Maybach Music.
I remember this guy, yes.
2012.
Yes. He was moving out here in these streets at that time.
I had every internet radio station. I had the most popping personality from each of the internet radio stations that were on my radar popping at that time.
I think who connected me a part of it was Winter Star Dames.
Winter Songbird is the one who got me that venue because I went to an event she did at that venue.
Okay.
And
now that tracks because I remember going to events for her stuff too. I remember doing
so
that.
that's how I got the venue.
Okay.
And that show, it was so packed that it was like this. It was stairs to come down into the venue. It were people on the stairs. Like this shit was. It was ridiculous. And at that time, I was grinding hard. So I had representatives from that was connected to different labels. Everything. Like when I show you the flyer, you'll understand the magnitude of that event.
Right.
And you'll understand what happened next happened.
Okay.
But everybody who was anybody that was attached to anything, any type of label, was in that building that night.
Nice.
And Marcus Banks.
Okay.
This was I was working with Marcus Banks. Like this was when Marcus Banks met. That's how it met Torching him. You know what I'm saying?
Marcus Banks. I remember Marcus Banks because my man Bill the Billionaire used to do business with him, and they all. It was a collective of people because at that time there was so many people doing so many things at that time. 2012 was a year of the high level of collection of artists, entertainers, just name it that you could find it, comedians, you name it, everybody was in there. I just remember it was such a creative time. Like I talk about in other episodes, it felt like if it was going to be a movement of people out of this area, that was the moment it was going to happen.
So I was rocking with Marcus Banks
because I saw ASAP and him just blow
from like 2011. So then he hosted that. He was one of the hosts for that event in 2012, and the turnout from the shit with Torch was so crazy that sparked the tour.
Yeah,
and the tour was a showcase concert series that I did. So from there, I looked at my man Birch from POW TV, who helped me secure Torch. I was like, yo, nigga, we gonna book Fred. We book Fred next. After we book Fred
is who?
Fred the Godson.
Okay, then.
So boom, we book Fred next. Then, so the following month, that was February. March, we booked Fred.
Fred was just was he was just starting to bubble at that point.
He was prime. That was prime time Fred. He was getting a lot of shows back then and he was still like real relevant. Big Chain Fred. He was still Big Chain Fred.
Okay, I remember that.
Jesus
I remember this
at that time.
I remember this.
Then I wanted to there's a story that I don't want to come off the timeline, but there's a story of how I ended up meeting Jada.
Okay.
And I ended up I'll get into that story another time maybe.
Yes.
But long story short, I was trying to bring Jada and Beans out.
Ooh-wee.
Beans hadn't been in New York, and prior to that, he had the beef with Hove. So I was working on bringing. I wanted to, and they hadn't done anything since their beef. This is before they did anything together. I was trying to be the first person to do that, and some things fell through the cracks. Well, I ended up bringing Beans out though.
Right.
So I had Beans, and who I had the same back to back. It was like 1 week apart. I think Beans. I booked Beans, and 3 days later, I had Two Pistols out here too. Ooh. So it's like now it went Torch, Fred the Godson, Beanie Siegel, Two Pistols. Two Pistols. He had a song with T-Pain. She got it. That was his song, but you're probably more familiar with T-Pain on it. So now it's like we're moving.
Your name is beginning to move around.
This is all 2012 still.
Right.
So in between that, I'm still doing shows where I'm not booking headliners. Just shows, just letting niggas come rock.
Right.
So now it's like every 2 weeks I got a show. That two of my biggest shows were in the same week. When I did that shit back to back, it was a different level of confidence.
Did you feel like your artistry was being forgot about?
I was performing at every show.
Oh, you were performing at every show. Okay.
I was the headliner. Me and whatever artist I had booked.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like at this point you were becoming Duce behind the scenes.
Oh nah. I've always was behind the scenes, but I've always. Last year was probably the only year where I kind of just played the cut for like a minute.
Okay.
And I was doing my acting shit. Okay. So now I'm performing, I'm closing, I'm on a flyer, front and center. Yo, it's me and Beans on the flyer. It's me and Torch, me and Fred. And if your bag was right, you got your picture on the flyer too.
Right, because it's a business at the end of the day.
Because at the end of the day, this was before I'm not gonna say and be like, yo, I'm the first to do everything, but nobody was really booking headliners at that time. I kind of was one of the first curators to do that.
Got you.
And me, anytime I started doing something and it became a fad, I switched it up and did something different.
To keep things fresh, I guess. Yeah.
So like during that time, we got the song with Two Pistols. An artist hit me up, so we booked Two Pistols for a show. One of the artists paid to be in the show. He wanted to do a song with Two Pistols. So he paid me to get the feature done. Got the feature done. I happened to go to the studio. I happened to be in the studio the day they're doing the song.
Right.
I just happened to feel like this song would sound better with me on it. And I did the song. And I'm gonna keep it a band though.
Yeah.
Yo, Rels, it is what it is, bro. So nigga J Rels, right? It was J Rels featuring Two Pistols.
Yeah.
So they're doing a song, and just me, I be in my zone. So I'm just writing a verse, period. Like,
you're just being creative on the side. That happens everywhere, man.
So I spit the verse.
Oh. But
I spit the verse.
Baby, it's not your track. How they let you in the booth and it wasn't even your track?
I mean, I set up the track. I set up the performance. I set up the studio. It might as well be my track. But
wait. Okay.
He told me he didn't like my verse.
Pistols told you to.
No. J. Rels.
Okay.
And I respect it.
Right.
But the funny thing is, everybody that seen the video told me I had the best verse.
Oh, wow.
But it's cool.
The song was constructed for 3 verses. The song was only constructed for 2 verses.
I don't know how it was constructed. I just know how it came out. It came out with me having the best verse. But that was on World Star and all. That was a good look. Like we was in the Ghost and all of that. Like it was dope. But the point of me telling that part was that led to, at the time J. Rels was signed to his man he was signed to. They had the bag. I was at this. I still had my promoter connects. Like I had a lot of celebrity. Like back in these times, like this was before Instagram was really janking. I got on Instagram in 2012, but like from like 2009 to 11, like I had Diddy following me. I had like a lot of people, like celebrities following me. So I was moving. So I was plugging in. So now it's like boom. These niggas want to open up for French at the pool party. I fuck with the promoters in Miami. That's from New York. I'm like, all right, boom. We line it up. Now I'm opening and performing for French at the pool party too. I got a check. I got a flight. So now I'm in Miami, like all paid expense.
Word. You living that life at that point?
On some rap shit.
You're moving like at that
so
point.
You're
moving like a.
We come back. I do some more shows with Torch.
Yeah.
Joel Ortiz is on tour with Slaughterhouse, but we like, yo, let's get Joel. My man is like, yo, he on tour. I'm like, fuck it, let's see if we can make it happen.
Right.
Niggas made it happen. That's when I first met Shampoo. Shampoo, my man booked Shampoo to host that show.
Right.
So for that stop on the tour, it was just crazy. Like, and it just kept building from there. That year, I produced 20 shows in 9 months. And that kind of like set the tone for everything else that followed behind that before I had my fucking downhill like snowball effect and everything just crashed for me. But that like 2012 catapulted me, and it built my brand like in a way that it made it respectable, because at the same time, like I said, doing all of this, I still had my site. So now remember, I got this site, so everybody that wants to see their performances and their pictures got to go where?
To your site.
To my site. So now I'm getting more members, more clients, more business.
So your site is moving. This is around the same time World Star
2012.
World Star begins to blow at this point, right?
World Star is already up.
Oh, that's right. So, okay, just to give some context. So at that point, that year is an amazing year for you.
Yeah, 2012, amazing year.
So then 2013, 14 come around. And 15, 16, so on and so forth, everything else. But in that time frame, after 2012, where did you think your business was going to go?
I always had a vision for it to be where it is, but just with more money.
Of course.
But I always wanted my business, my company network, to be a company that wasn't only just kings not educating the world of real knowledge, but
so
to also connect the supply with the demand. So with me having the networking capabilities that I have, I always wanted my company to be like me and be a person where if you're talented but you don't have the means or the mouthpiece to facilitate deals for yourself,
Yes.
we're here to do that.
Okay.
To connect the supply with the demand. So we want to create opportunities
I got you.
by highlighting your talents and capabilities
I see what you're saying.
and connecting them with people that need that.
But that's a
And that's why I built the site the way I built it. So now when you come on the site and all right, you need a DJ, all right, go to gxmedia.biz.
I gotta get my man Pinnacle on there. My man DJ Pinnacle on there.
Well, we don't have that anymore. We moved on from that. So 2013, 2014, I move on to bigger and better things. Now I'm doing SOBs.
That's big venue, baby.
Yeah, I'm doing SOBs. I'm like, my site is like the shit. You know what I'm saying? Doing big things, and somebody got my shit hacked. And it was a downhill spiral from there. I went into like a deep, dark hole from there. It was like Murphy's Law. From there, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And that site cost me like $3,000 a bill that I spent when I was working, like 2005 to 2000. I was working.
Yeah.
At this time, I'm just working off the hustle.
Yeah.
With the 2 kids and like with real life and rent and all this other shit.
That shit is not a joke, man, because when that sits on your neck, it sits on your neck.
Yeah, man. And it was just a downhill thing from there. I try to revive it, bring it back, da-da-da-da. But what I realized from like 2014 to like 2013 to like 2015, I realized like, yo, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. I tried to rebrand and rebuild this GX Media thing. A lot of people, it got to a point where people knew me more for what I did with media than what I did with music because of the business.
But that's what I was saying.
Eventually,
because I knew you as somebody who
because I wasn't promoting that. It wasn't bringing me money.
Right. I looked at you as being I knew you were an artist. That I never questioned. I just knew you as master networker, master hustler, and he always has something going on, and it's legit. So that's why I looked at you like, you know, when I come to you to do a podcast, I'm like, yo, I gotta get this guy on there because I know who you are. And I know and I respect what you've done. So I don't
appreciate that.
So when I come to you about this, I'm like, yo, he's got a real story. He's got a book to write. He just needs to write it.
Appreciate that.
You know what I mean?
So now we get to the point to where shit's going downhill. And 2015, it's like, all right, I've created other websites, and it's just not clicking. And I was like, yo, for a long time, I was just telling myself, like, I just gotta just keep everything under the brand network. Because there's always, for me, it was just like Banana Republic and Gap. Like, it's all the same shit, just different names. Yeah. Just changing the name just put me in a different space to where network, you may not be sure what that is. You hear GX Media, does media. So it just, but it was like, yo, you know what? Now it's just time to keep everything under the same brand. And I just felt like that's why I had the trouble that I had, like, reestablishing that brand itself. And it was like, yo, we just gonna do the same thing, just keep a network. And that's what I decided to do. 2012, it was around the time I got my first check for acting.
Wow.
From Sharp ENT on Discovery Channel.
I see the product that you're putting together, that you've put out. So far, I see that you have a crew going on, and I see a lot of stuff going on. I know there's what's the series that was on YouTube that was from Brooklyn?
Money and Violence.
Yeah, and I saw how that opened up doors for people because people didn't. What they did was unexpected, and I know for you, being that you're a watcher like myself, you watch and see, and you study and you learn. I know for you, seeing that had to be like a bit of a like, oh,
I was in Money and Violence.
What do you mean, you were? I never watched too many episodes. I only watched maybe 2 episodes.
I was
so
in Money and Violence. That's all good. That's all good. It's cool.
For that.
But this is what I'm saying. Like 2012, my first acting check, and it was like, oh, and that happened by accident. It was crazy. Like, that's everything's a long story, but I just happened to be online,
right? And
this chick happened to be like, yo, anybody wanna use a Jaguar for the day? I was like, wait, what? Hit up, yo, what's up? She's like, listen, I gotta go do this acting thing.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be anywhere to park. I'm like, and she was a white girl. I'm like, you don't know me, and you just gonna give me your Jaguar for the day? You only know me through Twitter? Wait, what? And I'm like, yo, matter of fact, fuck the Jag. What's up with this acting shit?
Word.
What's up with that? Go down there. They put me in a show. It was for Discovery Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Got a check. And just from there, everything just kept building. 2015, I realized I need to just keep everything network. The merch starts to pick up.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that.
I start fading away from the shows because I felt like everybody I had a whole period where I started doing the new film season NYC, all female shows.
I think I remember this.
I was doing all female shows. Yeah. Like I said, every time I felt like somebody was starting to do what I was doing, I found a different way to do it. And then after a while, I just kind of fell back from the shows.
Right. I remember there was...
And I started fucking with the comedy shows and the clothing.
I remember looking on your Instagram. And this is how I tracked, bro. You know, this is how I keep track of people. If they have a legitimate Instagram that continues to roll, then I know that they're serious about their business. Because people who are really about their business, their Instagram stays on point. Because that's a big tool. So is Facebook and everything else. But I kept seeing that you started putting out your clothing. And I was like, oh, this brother's smart. He continues to grow his brand, but he's also attaching merch. He's taking it to the level of a YouTuber and bringing in merch. And that was a smart move because not many people do that.
It was the easiest way to monetize what I was doing and to monetize the brand outside of just doing events.
Right.
And it was also a way to promote the company. So, like, the thing is, I always had T-shirts with, like, the logo. And then, like I said, I do a lot. So people often want to pay me to... Because they don't want to do it, and they don't know, or they don't know how, and so they pay you to do it.
You become a consultant at this point.
I was getting other people's clothing in stores.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was selling other people's... I was posting it online, and people were buying it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was also middleman and, like, you know, providing as a service, print and press.
We have
and
a mutual friend too,
Epiphany. Yeah. That's my girl.
She's doing the thing.
She gave me that heat press. That's another story.
Wow.
There's a lot of stories in my timeline.
Well, we got another episode coming down the road.
For sure.
So we take care of that.
Basically, I was pressing up other people's stuff, and I was doing everything for them. I was pressing it up, marketing it, selling it, all of that, and then I was like, yo, you know what? Let me play with a couple of designs and just do my own shit. And it took a while to really, like, for it to catch, but it started catching over a couple of years. Like, 2015 is when I really started fucking with the clothes. And then, like, when did Straight Outta Compton come out? 2016? Or was that 15?
No, it was 16. Was it 15?
Whenever that shit came out is when shit really started taking off because somebody put up the little meme. I saw it twice on my timeline, and then this is after midnight. That before the movie came out, when they first released the site that allowed you to interchange straight out or whatever.
Right.
And that same night, I made a shirt and put it online, and within a week, I was doing like 700 a week off straight out or whatever shirts. No funny shit.
That's dope.
I've never made this much. Like at that point. 2016, I realized, like, yo, I could literally make a full-time income off clothing. I just have to... The demand was already there for that.
Right.
So it started off with, boom, I was selling a few online. And then where I was getting the shirts at, I'm, like, buying the shirts from the dude, pressing them up. Then it was just like, yo, my nigga, yo, here, I got a new product. This one put these in the window. Now people coming for them, so it goes from me giving it to him on consignment to him buying them from me wholesale up front.
Yo, you got to change your name to the Amazing Duce. I'm tired.
What I mean? So now instead of me having to spend my bread, make the shirts, and let it sit there,
holy shit,
nigga, yo, what's up? He calling me like, yo, what's up? I need another dozen.
That had to be
and I had two stores. I had a store in Church and Flatbush doing that, and I had a store in Flatbush between Clarkson and Parkside and Woodruff. Two Africans.
What? Yo, if you need a shirt,
netgear.com.
Yeah.
KNETGEAR. We do custom work.
This man right here. I never even thought about that. I always thought that, you know, you would see somebody struggling trying to put it with a brand. I've seen people hustle up 5 shirts and make themselves into a brand. I've never seen anybody make a living doing it.
Yeah, so now it's like, okay, I got the clothes moving.
Yeah.
I got the comedy show moving.
Yes.
So now it's just like I got the weekly comedy show and I got the clothes. So it's like, yeah, we're doing that. And then I get in 2 short films at that time. And I'm already in a web series at that. And then it's just like from 16 moving forward, I just started doing more web series and just getting involved in more things. And I shot up my own musical film during that year of 2016, and I didn't put it out yet because I'm not satisfied with the final product yet.
Are you a perfectionist?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a detriment to you sometimes?
Not really, because at the end of the day, I feel like if I'm not 100% behind it, I can't expect anybody else to be behind it.
I got you.
And it's just like, if I don't believe in it fully, how could I expect you to believe in it fully?
I'm an overthinker. I completely understand. Sometimes I overthink things and I delay on stuff.
Pisces, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I can't. I be sitting there like.
But timing is everything. Like when the time is right and the product is right, you put it out.
Yeah.
But so now it's just like the clothing is moving. I got the music going. I do the musical film. We're doing events, and then it's just like a chain of events start happening. You know what? That Straight Outta Compton thing was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2015, the summer of 2015, and because 2016 was when I had my situation, and life was a lot different for me. It was definitely a different summer.
So you become okay. So you had 3 kids. Am I correct?
Two kids.
Two kids.
07 and 09.
09. So you got 2 kids. You've made yourself. You developed all this, and how is that being a father all the way up until this point? How's it influenced your life?
Well, being a father
through all this, because you've done a lot, and still been a dad at the same time. That's what I'm saying.
It's one of the greatest things that happen, and it's hard, and it's a lot of sacrifice. And then, like, at certain periods throughout this whole timeline, my kids live with me.
Yes,
and then they don't. Like right now, they live in Jersey. I live in New York.
Right.
But it's hard. It's not easy. Like I'm not gonna say it in front like it is because I gotta troop to Jersey. Like basketball games. Like
so it took me an hour to get here from Jersey. I don't even know how much time it's gonna get back to Jersey.
But it's definitely a motivation. And with me doing that, like my kids see the grind. My kids know the grind. My kids called me and was like, "Yo, Daddy, you should make shirts for people to wear to go see Black Panther." My kids.
Yeah, your kids.
8 and 10 called me. Like my daughter, she started her first business at 8.
Wow. Shit. You building a whole clan of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
So 2016 shit gets really rough.
Mm-hmm.
I get in my mom gets sick.
Mm-hmm.
I get into a legal situation.
Right.
Running around with a fucking ankle monitor with that monitors alcohol and all of this shit. I can't smoke, can't drink, can't swim for like 6 months. And it's just like, yo, it was hot. I had to run around. Even in the film, I got a bandana on my ankle. Like that whole summer 16, like I'm running around with a bandana on my ankle. People think it's for style. It's like, no, I'm covering up this big ass ankle bracelet on my ankle. Remember that? Like this is real shit. Like nobody knows this is going on.
Right.
Like my mom's is fighting cancer.
Uh-huh.
I'm fighting this stupid ass case.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was in a process in 2016, like the beginning of it, like I was getting booked for like hostings, like shit was going up. I was in I had a 2-page spread in Industry 21 magazine, and at that time I was getting ready to launch my own magazine for black businesses.
Right.
So like this was right before Manolo Rose got signed. So we had a whole interview we had an audio, video, and I had it transcribed. Like this was for the magazine. He was gonna be the cover story.
Okay.
So it was like I was gonna release it when he made his announcement that he got signed.
Right.
And it was just like I got into a legal situation that fucked all of that shit up. And it was just like valuable lesson learned.
Yeah.
And it was just like that shit was rough, but you gotta overcome it.
You gotta.
And I kept grinding through it. And it's just like now, boom, 2017. I was just working, getting. I didn't do any music. I did a lot of acting. I didn't do any music. I just wasn't in this space. I just felt like for me to do music, I have to be experiencing new things or be happy. And it wasn't either of the two at the time.
Would you say right now you're a working actor?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a lot of work. Like today, I got a meeting for something. I'm supposed to be some acting thing, like that I'm about to do. Like this acting shit's gonna like. I already know that it's gonna be big for me,
I got you.
and I already know that it's gonna be big for me. And I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna, but I don't want to pursue it. Like I don't want to go to acting class. I don't want to do all of that shit. I just want to like grind it out and get discovered. And that's the type of shit I'm on.
No, but you know what? That just speaks to who you are. You are a risk taker who will do what it takes to get what you need to get done.
And I think it's working because I'm getting called for like mad shit. Like, yo, we want you. Can you do this? Can you do that?
You have the look and you have the voice. You know what I'm saying? If you were just a regular dude with just like like I said before in other podcasts, if you just, hey, what's up, man? Blah blah blah. You can't. It's not a light switch. It's either in you or not in you. You got that, man. You got that. I think you also have charisma, which gives you have helped you achieve over the years. Because most people are not listening to somebody who doesn't have a somewhat of charisma, some type of I want to talk to that guy in the room. Because you got to stand out in a room with 20 people. Me and you, we're not 6'8", bro. We don't walk into a room and automatically eyes fall on us. We have to somehow a little bit kind of stick out, whether it's what we say, how we look, or the way we move or carry ourselves. I think a lot of things that I've seen with you is just that you continue to do what makes you what works for you, and that's the message I want to say in this podcast.
Yeah, I think that's a major key. Like your family and friends, unknowingly at times, will be your biggest dream killers, and they don't do it intentionally.
Yeah,
but sometimes people can't fathom you doing something that they feel they're not able to do.
I feel you on that.
You know, and you just got to do what works for you because everything doesn't work for everybody.
Listen, I tell you who inspired me. Like a few people inspired me. Like Taxstone definitely inspired me. Joe Rogan's podcast inspired me to do this. A lot of these people inspired me to get to hear Gary Vee. You know, I don't always agree with what he has to say sometimes, but he inspires me. A lot of YouTubers, Casey Neistat, wearing his shirt right now. It's just that you have to find what inspires you. But all these people because they did what worked for them. They didn't do what they thought was going to be something else. They did what was working at the time. And you took risks and did that. So tell me a little bit about what's coming now. What's coming for 2018?
More and more roles, more acting roles. I'm doing more executive work.
Okay.
I'm signing more clients to network promo.
Okay.
I'm doing like music campaigns. I have a producer, 2 a.m. Beats on YouTube.
Okay.
Just helping him get his music out, getting his beats out there, helping him get some artists on his beats. I'm just helping artists get their exposure up. I'm really helping people get exposure. That's what I'm doing with network promo. So, you know, a little bit of promo, PR, marketing. You know what I mean? As far as I can get them, and then you know, help them, you know, move on to the next step from there. But I'm kind of like the guy. I'm the guy that you come to when you're first getting your feet wet.
Okay.
Or when you got the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like when if you first getting your feet wet, I can help you. If you got the bag, I can really help you.
Do you think you're gonna fall more into who Karen? Obviously, Karen Civil is and everything.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a lane that you're gonna probably pursue more of?
Nah.
Because you see her lane and see what she does, and
Nah, not exactly. I'm gonna stay privy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I got you.
I'm always just like.
There's nothing wrong with that lane, though.
With network entrepreneurs, we deal with film, fashion, and music. So we pretty much deal with all entertainment and the culture of hip hop. And I feel like depending on the timing, I'm always going to be doing something that revolves under that umbrella.
I got you.
So it just depends on what's moving at the time. That's what's going to get the most attention at the time. Like right now, like people are supporting my acting heavy, so that's gonna get more attention than the music's gonna get right now.
I get you.
Gonna still do the music,
right.
But right now, the music and the clothing are at the forefront.
I dig it, man.
People got their tax money, so
they buying shit. It's time. It's
Netgear.com, KNETGEAR.com.
Well, Duce, I want to say, man, this has been one of the most eye-opening interviews I've done because you really broke down some stuff for me. And two, you made me realize some stuff that I didn't even know about you, bro. That I thought I had you kind of pegged, and you kind of like moved me on to another level of just like respect for you.
Appreciate it.
And I just think that I look forward to doing business with you down the road. I look forward to doing other things. I hope that you come out to Jersey and come to some of the things that I got going on down
Yeah,
the
definitely. Oh, and my fault to cut you off. Remember, I was telling you that my people's got a situation where they was building a studio to do things, with the government for the
Yeah.
kids and everything. They got the studio, so I want to connect y'all on that.
Sweet. That's
Out
gonna
there
be
in
dope.
Jersey too.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So let everybody know where they can find you and what's coming up in the next few months.
Netgear.com, KNETGEAR.com, DuceThePrivilege.com. If you can't spell that, just type in the hashtag GED mentality. Type in Duce Privy, DUCEPRIVI. All social media platforms, Duce the Privilege. If you can't spell it, type it in. It'll correct you. You'll find me. Next up, check out Best Frenemies on YouTube. Web series that I'm in right now. Check out Let's Go for Life, another web series that I'm in. Check out the Juicy series, another web series that I'm in. Check out Pieces. Check out Money and Violence. Check out Short Film and Storyteller. Check out a new web series coming out.